We're back on the record. Before we start,
I believe exhibit 12 was withdrawn.
Withdrawn.
Correct.
so we want to remove that from the books at some point.
Okay.
Exhibit 12 is no longer before us.
Don't go home with it. In other words.
The commissioners not speak about this, the evidence in this case while we were out. Of course, thank you. It's all yours.
Mr. Thorson, I want to start off actually some very specific questions. Primarily initially related to lunch and the Philadelphia visit. First, is it accurate? I want to direct your attention to the point in your testimony so far. That you were showing exhibit 22, which is the email that you got, that you was sent by David Patton to you, in which it says lunch is on me or something like that. Robertsville, Pennsylvania trip, Philadelphia trip. When you got off the plane in Philadelphia, versus before you arrived at the Bach building, did you believe that David Patton was going to address the issue of lunch, that is pay for lunch?
Yes,
And why is it that you believe that? Why did you believe?
well, I think that the question that was raised to me is, did I see before I got on the plane? Or after I got to Philadelphia? And I can't remember when exactly I saw that email, but it was definitely before I went to Bach. And the conversation with Patton on the way down on the plane was a briefing of what we were going to do that day. I made a comment about that he was gonna cover lunch.
Okay, let's talk about that. I think, when you were, addressing questions put to you by Mr. Grammett, that you indicated that, Mr. Patton made you aware, while on the plane, that you were going to be having lunch at a restaurant called Irwin's. Is that correct? Do I have that right?
Yeah,
And in connection with having lunch at Irwin's, what else do you recall him saying? What else do you recall Patton saying to you about lunch at Irwin's?
oh, the lunch was on him, and he was taking care of it. And also that, I'm not really sure if you want me to talk about different places that we were gonna see, because he went over the agenda in some detail. That was the bulk of the discussion. He also had told me when we first got on the plane that his daughter had gotten engaged and his friend had died very recently. And that, I asked him, he said he wasn't getting enough sleep.
Okay. But in connection with the trip down at the relation of what you were gonna do with the Bach building, he went through the itinerary with you, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
And part of the itinerary was the fact that you were gonna end the tour with lunch at Irwin's, is that correct?
Yes,
And as part of that discussion, he told you that he would be paying for the lunch at Irwin's, is that correct? Yes or no?
yes.
Now, at any time, as it relates to the vendor scout, did you ask them for anything for free?
No,
Did you expect them to do anything out of the ordinary for you?
no,
And you may have been asked this, but did you ask them to open up a restaurant at a time when it wouldn't have otherwise been open?
no.
When you first went into that restaurant, did you believe that it was in the preparatory stages of opening for lunch?
That's what it appeared like to me, because there was no wait staff. There was no table settings. There was,
Okay, now in connection with that, and some of the businesses or tenants at Bach that you interacted with during this tour, were all of them open for business when you were taken there by the scout representatives?
no,
No,
no.
do you have any specific recollection of one or more of them that were not yet open for business?
Two in particular. One was an event space with a rooftop, like, gathering spot, where they had catered events and such. No activity at that point. The other was, a shop run by a gentleman who repairs clarinets.
Clarinets?
Clarinets, which was absolutely fascinating because he does it for orchestras all over the world. And he's the guy go to if you're a professional musician, if you want to have your clarinet prepared.
Okay, and were you taken to his shop or his location by the scout representatives?
Yeah, we went by the shop, and it wasn't open.
Okay, and at some point, was it open?
I don't think so.
Did you ever meet the man who was
No.
making the clarinets? No, anyone in his business?
No.
Um. As it relates to the, getting back to lunch, right, and, at the end of the tour, with, this may have been asked, but were there menus?
No,
So you weren't allowed to order your own food, is that correct?
that's correct.
All right, can you describe the conversation that the chef came out in terms of what he intended to prepare, is that correct?
Yes.
And something that his mom used to make, is that what he
That's
said to
right.
you? And, again, I know Mr. Patton left for a while, but you were there the entire time, is that correct?
Correct,
At the table,
yes,
and there was the four of you sitting there, correct?
great.
There were three of you until three of you after Patton left, is that right?
Right.
And, as it relates to that, I mean, was there ever a bill presented of any kind?
No,
Do you know where Mr. Patton went when he left the table?
he told me he was going to wash his hands. And, he told me later that he was taking a phone call.
And he told you that, correct?
Yeah,
All right, and when he told you this, he also told you that he didn't have sneakers in the box, correct?
yeah,
He told you he paid for the cheese,
right,
correct? And at some point, did you arrive at the conclusion that he was not telling you the truth? So let me put a time frame on.
not at that point.
Right, not at that point.
Right.
And, as it relates to when you did become aware of that, is it accurate to say that that occurred after you spoke with Mr. Alfonso on Sunday afternoon?
Yes,
Did Mr. Alfonso tell you that Patton had solicited, free gifts from the different vendors at the Bach Building?
yes,
Did he talk to you about the sneakers specifically?
yes,
And at that time, during that conversation, did you recall that Patton had said, no, it's just a box, there's no sneakers there, correct?
yes,
And at that point, did you have a reason to doubt the veracity of the statements that he had made to you while in Philadelphia and during that tour?
yes.
Would you, let me ask you this, phone caller now, would you, describe Patton's absence from the table at lunch as being an inordinate amount of time?
We didn't have an inordinate amount of time, which has made it even more uncomfortable because we had about 40 minutes before we had to jump in a cab and go back to the airport.
And Patton was gone for most of that time, is that correct?
I'd say we sat down at 11:15 and we're probably done by 11:50. And he was gone for 15-20 minutes anyway. Seemed like forever.
And when he got back, did he join in on the conversation at all?
Pretty much, but you know, we had already talked about what we had seen.
Okay. Now, after you left the lunch, after you left Roland's restaurant, did you say that you went to the scout offices to get your things?
Yeah, we had to get our coats before.
And then was there some substantive conversation, at the office after lunch, after you had left Irwin's?
Yes.
All right, and tell us about that.
Well, I wanted to make sure I closed the meeting by saying that we still wanted to move forward with the project. We're still interested in that, but I wanted to reemphasize the points I had made about. I think there's a deal here if we can get the feasibility right. We're still interested in pursuing this while we didn't get included into the budget. We can either get a budget amendment or roll to the next fiscal year. And that was the message. Thank you for hosting us today.
All right, did Mr. Patton, was he involved in that conversation?
He kept interrupting me. And I told him to be quiet. And I really don't know what he was talking about because it could have been as close as what I wanted to talk about. But So it wasn't really a substantive contribution to that conversation.
But you did tell him to stop talking.
I did.
I need to ask you, at the time that you were getting up from the table at Irwin's, I want to know what information you had received from your chief of staff or anyone else regarding Mr. Patton's conduct at ladder 133 the evening before, okay? I want to direct your attention to that. Now, is it accurate to say that you were sent an email by your chief of staff sometime after 10 o'clock at night? Is that correct?
On Thursday,
Well, Thursday night, yes.
Thursday night, yes.
And did that email indicate to you that there were some concerns about Mr. Patton's behavior at ladder 133?
Yes.
That had been expressed to her, is that correct?
Well, actually, it's more specific. He said something like, I think he's having a manic episode. Call me when you have a moment, good moment in the morning.
And when was it that you first saw that text communication?
Before I went to the airport.
Oh, and that was very early in the morning,
Yeah,
3:00 in the morning, yes?
yeah,
All right, so you didn't call her at that point because of the time of day, is that correct?
that's correct.
At some point, did you receive an additional communication from her while you were in Philadelphia?
Yes.
And what was that?
It's something to the effect that some of the staff were complaining and making comments about Dave's behavior last night. And that she was going to meet or have the team meet and discuss that afternoon.
And did she mention a person named Paul Dion?
Yes,
Who was Paul Dion?
Paul Dion is the director of the Pandemic Recovery Office, which is responsible for the allocation of funding under the Fiscal Recovery Act.
And was he the supervisor or of any of the attendees at the ladder 133 gathering?
Yes, two of them.
Okay, was he there himself?
He was.
Now, at some point, did he indicate to you, or did anyone indicate to you that Mr. Dion's employees had a concern about potential retribution if they filed a complaint against David Patton?
Yes,
And what was your response to that?
I need something in writing, and I need Paul to write it because he was the supervisor. I didn't get that, but I did get an email later on. That Libby had forwarded about inappropriate behavior.
Okay, and that, let me say that email that you received that Liberty forwarded, is it accurate to say that was forwarded to you shortly after 4 o'clock on Friday afternoon, the 10th?
No, I didn't get that till Sunday.
Okay. Did you receive-
So,
Go ahead.
so I'm in a position where I'm, no, I hear, when I hear a complaint like that, I have to substantiate it. And, I'm in the middle of I'm in Philadelphia. And I'm trying to get some facts ascertained. So, because I've had experience of working in HR situations where, if you make a misstep, you can really mess things up in terms of what kinds of actions you can take and what kind of flexibility you have with the employee and protecting the employee's rights versus rights of the people who were complaining. It's a lot to do on the fly, right? So that's what the discussion was on Friday evening. And then I asked for more substantiation, and there's complaints. I need for somebody to write this up so that we have something to go by. So that's what Friday evening was mostly about.
And in connection with the reference to potential or fears of retribution, did you instruct your chief of staff to tell Mr. Dion to advise those employees that they had absolutely no fear
Yes,
of retribution?
Yes.
Of any kind,
yes,
and that they should feel free to write them up, is that correct?
yes,
And if they weren't willing to do it, that Dion should write them.
that's right.
I want to go through what it is that you actually witnessed yourself on, in connection with Patton's behavior at Bach. Okay, now you said something about a reference to a dog being overweight, a fat dog or something like that. Okay, and I may not have caught all of this, but That was this early on in the,
When we were walking,
when you were walking in, correct?
that's right.
And is it accurate to say that Lindsay Scanapico came walking into the building with her dog? She walked her dog and brought it into the building.
Actually, it was when we were walking into their office space.
Oh. And, Mr. Patton started making reference to the dogs being overweight. Is that correct?
Yes, he said the dog was fat.
Okay, and then glad he's not in this room. Did he say anything about how he used to work with dogs or run a dog,
I
train
heard-
dogs or something like that? Yes?
Yes,
Now, in connection with other things that you saw and heard, is it actually is it accurate to say one of the first places you went to was this, daycare center?
yes,
And that's where you heard, Mr. Patton ask the owner or whoever was there if he could see a copy of their daycare license, is that correct?
correct.
And you said what name at that point?
Dave, that's not germane to our visit here today. We have to keep moving this thing along or we're not gonna be able to make it through the tour.
Okay. Now, I think that you said that the observation that you made, or the third observation that you made regarding Patton's conduct that was disturbing or concerning was when he started to ask race-based questions or ethnicity-based questions to a medical doctor.
Medical doctor, they run a clinic for the underserved on the Bach premises to, for community healthcare. And he had, the doctor had introduced and talked about his clinic and what he was doing, and Patton made remarks about, you've got quite a tan, are you Italian? And I was uncomfortable, and then the doctor replied, no, and he says, well, what else could it be? Is it Jewish? And he said Mazel Tov, and I was, I did my best to deflect and try to de-escalate, but it was embarrassing.
Now, when you say that you did your best to deflect, what specifically did you do?
Well, I complimented the doctor on the facility. I asked him about where he'd done his training and mentioned that my daughter is a physician and really thought that they were doing good work. So,
And did that prevent Patton from continuing with his,
well, yeah, then I hustled us out of there. I didn't want that was uncomfortable, and I wanted to move on.
Now, going back, did you ever hear David Patton say anything, aside from the dog comment, inappropriate to Lindsay Scanapico?
Not really. I only figured out what he said after I read about it. And, because I was talking at the same time and he said something about where's her husband? When
That's what you heard, is that correct?
That's what I heard.
And later
I
on,
knew that he was in New Zealand the last time I had talked to her, she was with him. But he said some other kind of remark. He was alleged to have made some other kind of remark. I didn't really understand what he was saying, because I was talking at the same time to everybody. He said something about, if I'd known he wasn't around, I would have come last night or something like that. And I didn't actually process that or hear that from him.
because you were talking to Mr. Abbott, Bob?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
All right, I think direct question, I mean, when you were at lunch, when lunch was over and you getting up to go to leave, that a lot on your mind, was that an accurate statement?
Very much so.
You're very concerned about Patton's behavior, and putting aside what you didn't hear, what you didn't know about asking and receiving, things for free, were you very concerned about his behavior at Bach during this visit?
I would say concerned.
Well,
I was very concerned about the ladder 133 allegations. So, because 'Cause I don't think I saw everything that was going on with Dave at the box, so I mean, if you wanna say. You wanna put it on a scale, yes, I was concerned.
Yeah, and you, so yeah, my question was, what you saw at Bach, okay, you, yourself witness.
Yeah.
Things that we just went through,
Yeah.
great, okay, did that cause you to be concerned? While having lunch and thereafter?
Yes.
Alright, and in addition to the information, the information you received about, regarding the allegations of Patton's behavior the night before at ladder 133, did that cause you to be concerned about Patton and his behavior?
Yes,
These are all things that you were aware of at the conclusion of lunch as this meeting was wrapping up, is that correct?
yes,
Um. I just want to go back, it's something that I think you said, um. When you were, no, I'm gonna withdraw that, I'm gonna withdraw that. I'd like to show you exhibit RC,
Let's not get close to it.
sure,
got it.
oh, yeah, oh,
Said RC.
see it in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Carl. Sure. Okay, do you recognize what that is?
It's a text,
Okay, from who to who?
from Tony Afonso, well, from me to Tony Afonso.
That's correct. Okay. And, do you know when that text was sent?
Sunday. March. Well,
And was it just, what did you text to Mr. Afonso on the 12th?
FYI, I independently spoke with redacted.
Do you know who you spoke?
Paul Beyond, Elena Mertis.
Say that aloud, please.
Paul Beyond and Elena Mertis.
Okay, and who was Elena?
Elena was the chief financial officer for the Department of Administration. She was at the table with Patton and the other two junior
On Thursday night.
on Thursday night.
So read it as you wrote it, not how it's redacted.
FYI, I independently spoke with Paul Beyond and Elena Mertis about Thursday's gathering. After the hearing, they confirmed erratic behavior. I set up a call with HR at 8 AM to discuss how best to handle the situation and what the options are. I expect Pam Mascarelli to join you and me at the 9:30. I appreciate your attention as this is new territory for me. My primary concern is health and safety, but I clearly have a big problem on my hands.
And there's a 9:30.
Bristol, I gotta be frank in saying that I cannot read the date above that.
Yeah, I can't either, but did you recall sending it? What if I asked this? Foundation.
Clarify for me,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah, do you recall sending this on Sunday afternoon sometime?
I do.
Oh, did you know exactly what time it was sent?
Well. I mean, it looks like,
No, not what it looks like, do you know?
I don't know, but it would have been between the time. Would have been after the time I spoke to him in the early afternoon. And when I talked to Paul and Elena on the phone,
Did you know about what time that was?
when I talked to
Paul
Paul
or Elena on the phone?
Sometime between 2 and 5
On
Sunday
Sunday,
evening.
12th.
Yes,
Was this genuinely how you felt as it related to what your responsibilities were with a division director?
I had-
Supervision?
honestly, I had a lot of mixed feelings.
But,
My primary concern was Dave and his health. Next concern was deal's gonna blow up. The next concern was how are we gonna get through this?
You say, how will you get to this? How are you gonna deal with the personnel issue? The human
Yeah.
resources issue?
Yeah, I was concerned about, his health. There were some other reasons why, and discussion on the back, coming back from the trip, be worried about it. And, yeah, I, that's how I felt. And I felt upset because I've been lied to.
Said things that you learned on the trip on the way back. Did Mr. Patton discuss with you the fact that he was a licensed firearm? Had a permit to carry a firearm in the state of Rhode Island? The trip back, did you pay that on the plane ride on the way back?
Yes, a lot of people are, but
That's not what I asked you. I asked you to tell you that.
yes, he did.
Okay. And did he tell you that while he didn't keep a gun in his own home, that he kept his firearm at his brother-in-law's home and had access to the firearm?
Yes, he did.
Was that part of the thought processes that you were going through on
Yes.
Sunday when you wrote this,
Yes, it was.
this text, excuse me?
Yes,
That was this exhibit RC.
yes.
Now, the afternoon before, on the 11th, you received an email from Mr. Farrell, Chris Farrell, is that correct?
Yes,
Okay. And you responded to that email?
I did.
And one more time, tell us what in substance you indicated to him.
Basically that, sorry,
Hey, Mr. Farrell, what'd you say in the email?
I said that the project checked all the boxes. And I sent some pictures of daycare and, clinic. And, some other photos. And that said, we need to do this and we need to get the financing. Right. To that effect.
Could I have the witness shown exhibit 29, please?
So.
Would you look at that? And I think it's a few pages long. But is that the active figures that you had with Christopher Farrell
Yes,
on Saturday? Yes?
yes,
Okay. And is it accurate to say that you told him the trip was very good, that you were skeptical going in, but the place is solid, using your word, is that correct?
yes,
And you told him you get a full report on Monday,
yes,
but at the place that the doctor checked all the boxes in terms of what you were looking to have happen at the Cranston Street Armory, is that correct?
correct, yes,
And the document speaks for itself, but there's a number of photographs with some commentary. Did you take those photographs when you were in
did.
Philadelphia? Let me finish the question. Did you take those photographs when you were in Philadelphia?
yes, I did.
Okay. And you wrote these comments underneath, correct?
Yes, I
And
did.
this was all positive, is that correct?
Yes,
Did you say anything negative about Bach and the proposal that Scout had made regarding the Armory building? In this text?
No.
Okay. Was there a reason why you didn't mention or tell him anything about your observations of Patton's behavior?
So after the Friday, yes,
Okay,
So
what's that reason?
but after the Friday meeting, there was discussion, we hadn't really received any documentation that you think was ever going on. And I did not want to share what was going on from an HR perspective without getting more information. And I didn't want to tell a policy person in the governor's office that I was trying to handle an HR situation, because I didn't. As soon as I do that, I have to, like, what is it? And I don't really know what it is yet.
All right, now, you came to work, you were certainly present at work on Monday morning, the 13th, by 8 o'clock, is that correct? By 8
Oh,
a.m.
yes,
And you had a planned meeting with your chief of staff and Ms. Mascarelli?
yes,
Okay. And who is Pam Mascarelli?
she's, um. She's the person in HR responsible for discipline, employee action related to things like inappropriate behavior.
And is she someone you had been in touch with? Let me back that up. And I'm being repetitive and I apologize, but she was on by Zoom via the Zoom, excuse me. She was on the call, once you got back at your office on the 10th.
Yes,
Your chief of staff was with you?
Yes.
And you got
yes,
Pam Mascarelli
yes,
remotely involved,
Yes.
right? And you explained the situation at that time, is that correct?
That's
Ms.
correct.
Mascarelli? Okay. And then over the weekend, you asked her to come in and meet you at 8 o'clock in the morning on Monday morning, is that correct?
yes,
And she was there, is that right?
yes,
The two of you had a discussion, is that
Yes.
correct? And that preceded the 9:30 in the morning meeting that was scheduled with David Patton, is that
Yes.
correct? At some point, you said that, a person came into your office who was a public relations, or how would you describe her?
Laura Hart is the, was at the time responsible for media communications and legislative affairs, which is monitoring pieces of governance of legislation that go through on behalf of the DOA and responding to media inquiries.
Okay, and tell me one more time, let me withdraw that. She asked you if you had a receipt, she told you that she had a media request or a receipt from the lunch that took place on March 10th, is that correct?
That's correct.
All right, and you said to her, David said he was gonna pay for lunch, is that correct?
That's what I said. Yes,
And then at that point, you realized that you hadn't seen that happen, is that correct?
that's correct.
And at that point, you were accurate to say that you're also aware that, Patton had made sort of material misrepresentations to you about what had happened at Bach, is that correct?
That's correct.
And, after that was, I think you said, or is it accurate to say that you then became concerned as to whether or not the lunch bill from Irwin's had been paid, is that correct?
That's correct.
You tried to call Mr. Abbott, is that correct?
Yes,
Right. And you then sent Mr. Abbott an email, is that right?
that's correct.
Right now, you sent that email, is it accurate to say 9:04 a.m. on Monday morning, the 13th, is that accurate?
Yes,
And you looked at that email recently?
Yes.
Is that correct? Okay. I showed exhibit 22. You showed it. Is that the email that you sent on the morning of the 13th? That's a
Yes.
9:04 a.m. Right? And you didn't receive, and did you ever receive a call back, any correspondence from anyone at Scout prior to March 22nd?
no,
Now, when you were being asked questions, thank you. When you were being asked questions, by Mr. Gramick, you indicated that, he had you read aloud the email where he said here's the bill attached, correct? And then there was some discussion about unpaid invoices and potentially adding late charges and finance charges and other things, is that correct?
yes,
Now, once you receive that, there was a per person charge on there of $131.15, is that correct?
yes,
So memory.
yes,
And, once you saw that, is it accurate to say that you made payment on April 6th?
yes,
Could I have the witness shown exhibit R He is in Edward. You recognize that document?
Yes,
What is it?
it's the stub from the official check issued by Citizens Bank for the payment of $262.30 to Scout.
Okay, and did you secure this check? Is this a cashier's check?
It
from
is.
Citizens? Is there, did this deal with the funds that funds that were taken out as a result of this check? Where did they come from?
My personal account.
Is there a reason you just didn't write a personal check?
I didn't want my address on the check and my personal account information shared with anyone.
And does that have your home address on your check?
Yes, and the account number.
Okay. Okay. Now. The per person charge was $131.15, and what is the amount of the check?
$262.30.
Do you know, is it accurate to say that you paid for yourself and for Mr. Patton's lunch?
Yes,
Now, when you first got the March 22nd invoice, did you have, a question as to whether or not, Mr. Patton was gonna pay his per person charge there?
well, I did, but
Was he still a state employee at that time?
yes, he was still a state employee at that time.
He didn't resign until June, is that correct?
Correct. That was after I had left.
And, did you hold that invoice, waiting to see whether or not you were gonna pay for one person or both?
Not really. I had some questions about it, and I did have it for a couple of weeks. The question being about Patton, for example. But I didn't really hold it, I paid it within 15 days.
And if it did, let me ask you this, when you first got it, did you have a question as to whether or not you were gonna pay for yourself or yourself and Pat?
Definitely, yes.
Did you put that question forward in terms of, I need to
Yes.
know? Did you ever get an answer to that question from anybody?
No, I just decided to pay. Because it really wasn't about the money, it was just getting it done.
Okay, guys, you previously referenced a person named Elena Mertis, is that correct?
Correct.
And she was one of the people you spoke with at the time with Paul Dion? And
Yes.
you sent that email, that text, excuse me, on the 12th to Tony Alfonso? Yes. Who is she in connection with the Department of Administration?
She's Chief Financial Officer of the Central Business Office, which executes the budget on behalf of the Department of Administration, and really is the years in the team that invoices and paid and purchase orders issued, which come out of purchasing. Once they come out of purchasing, they have to be matched up with the budget, and her office is the group very much the oil in the machine that makes the gears go and makes government run.
Was she present at ladder 133,
She was at the
On
table
Thursday.
with Patton and the other two junior folks.
who were both female?
No, one was female and one was not female.
The not, was Riley, that was male.
Yes.
Um. I'm gonna, the witness be showing exhibit R, B as in boy. Okay, prior to, and aside from consultation with your attorneys, have you ever seen this document before?
If not, had not. So, I'm sorry, prior to your,
Prior to excuse me, prior to it being provided to you by one or more of your attorneys, have you ever seen this document?
so to be precise, there was a screenshot of this in that. That was, email it about whether or not it's gonna be evidence or not, but I had not seen this before. No, I had not seen this.
You said there was a screenshot of this where?
In the email that was sent to, Ponsa. Thing. Yes,
You saw that email, you saw this as well?
yeah, but I didn't see this email for quite some time. I was told about it by Ponsa, but I did not see it. No.
Did you have anything to do with this?
No, I had nothing to do with this.
Again, requested Mr. Patton
I did not.
that there be any food or anything to drink.
I did not.
But was there, to, waive a $55 million contract in front of the Scout people? Did you tell Mr. Patton that?
Absolutely not.
I retrieve that, please. Let me go back and talk to you sort of generally about the trip to Philadelphia. Who made the arrangements as to how you were gonna go down there and when you were gonna go?
Mr. Pat. Or his associate, or his, Mr. Pat.
Did you have anything to do with it?
No,
Alright, so is it accurate to say you didn't pick the date, or the time, or the flights or anything like that?
well, I had to, I had to tell. I had to tell him that I wasn't available until after the evening of the night. But beyond that, in terms of the details. The agenda, the flight, anything else, that was that.
And as it relates, and I think there's been a lot of questions about your involvement in this, with Scout and in the Cranston Street Armory. I apologize, Cranston Street Armory, was there, whose project was that?
Pat,
And did you, as it relates to your oversight of that project, was it the same as other projects that he was involved in?
was it?
Was it the same as other projects that Patton was involved?
No, he was involved in other projects, like the State Health Lab. A serious deficiency at the, Eleanor Slater Hospital at San Barano. That was all hands kind of the situation. We had homeless people camped out on the State House steps. And we were doing that while we were still involved in COVID mitigation. So, yeah, it was a project different from any other because BCAM doesn't often do a development project, but State Health Lab was one and Cranston Street Armory was another.
All right, and one more time, the reason that you decided to go to Philadelphia, you yourself was what?
To give an effective transition. To let them know that it was important enough for us to come down there. Didn't want them to lose interest because it wasn't in the governor's budget. And see firsthand and learn firsthand facts about the box sensor that could be analogous to the Cranston Street Armory. And finally, to make sure that they knew about the feasibility study and how we were moving forward.
All right, and despite Patton's behavior, do you think you accomplished that?
Well, it didn't turn out that way, but when I walked out of the door, I didn't feel like it was a loss, like it turned out to be. Some of the things that Patton had said were inappropriate and sideways, but I didn't think that it wasn't salvageable. I was concerned because at one point I was told by Scout that you know, the only thing they had to sell was their time, and $25,000 a month wasn't enough really for them. And that concerned me. I told them that was an unusual provision in a contract. And they're the ones who negotiated that number, not us.
All right, I want to go back and just, you were asking again some questions about your background, if I could ask you some. Sure. Okay. You talked about, working for the Rhode Island state government. Did you ever work for the federal government?
On a contract basis, I worked for the U.S. Treasury Office of Technical Assistance.
Tell us about that, please.
I was a contract budget financial analyst working on a cash management project in Mongolia, and then later on the Social Security system for the Superintendent of Banks of Ecuador.
And did you continue to do that while you were working for the state? Is either the department, the director of department administration, or the finance, I say director of finance?
Revenue.
Yeah. Did you continue to work for the federal government on a contract basis while you were working for the state?
Yes, when I met with Governor Raimondo before she hired me, I told her that I needed to keep my contract active, and that it would be possible that I would be taking vacation time in Mongolia to do mission work on site. And in fact, that when I was the director of this administration, I did take a 2-week trip to work on a project in Mongolia. The challenge with that was that much of the work was sporadic due to COVID, which is why I came to the state anyway, because I was working for the U.S. trip in Mongolia, which is remote work 3 or 4 months, and then going for a 2-week trip on site every 3 or 4 months. And that was no longer possible during COVID. So I got a call from actually Brett Smiley, who asked if I would be interested in coming to work in the administration. My carve out was said, look, I'm willing to do this, but I want to keep my contract with Treasury.
When you say treasurer, that's
U.S. Treasury.
right. And when did you resign? When did you submit a letter of resignation as a director of the Department of Administration?
The first time I did it was in the middle of February of 2003, and the governor asked me to reconsider and take it back, and I reconsidered and tendered it the 3rd week of February 2023.
The fact of what they.
Well, that was the source of some discussion, because as you know, we had already submitted the budget, but there were budget hearings to do, and then he asked me to stay on through the end of the fiscal year, but I had a project starting up that I was being called back to my old job, and so we settled on April 28th.
Okay.
As the effective date.
And you say you were being called back to your old job. Once you resigned as the director of DOA, was it your intention to go back and work full time as a contract worker for U.S. Treasury?
Actually, I did. That's exactly what I did. You know, some reference was made to the APRA request and everything, but I was actively working on a project when in Indonesia, when this hit the press, and they asked me to stop working.
Okay. Ultimately, did they end your contract or let it run out?
Yeah, let it run out, yes.
Okay. Have you sought employment with them since that contract ran out?
Not with them.
Are you currently working?
I officiate high school track meets.
Okay.
That's what I do.
Other than that, Mr. Thorson, are you working?
No.
Okay. And is this complaint a part of that? This issue, the complaint?
Sure. Sure, Google my name.
Have you been told that?
Yes.
By prospective employers, I mean, when I say have you been told that?
Yes.
All right, and I just want to ask you, did you ever work in the private sector?
Oh, yeah, most of my career was in the private sector, but I've always worked in or around government finance. I started out by trading municipal bonds for a bank in Virginia back in 1984. And spent 8.5 years as a public finance investment banker, working for a bank, an investment bank, and then
Where was that? What bank was it?
well, I started out at the bank of Virginia National Bank, and then went to First National Bank in Charlotte. And my wife and I moved around quite a bit down south. When I graduated from college, we got jobs here, so we had to move from Buffalo down to Virginia. Then I went to grad school in Chapel Hill, and then took a position in Charlotte, and we transferred to Jacksonville, Florida, before going back to Baltimore, Maryland. And then last stop was Naples, Florida, with Alex Brown's son, so public finance investment banking before was hired by the state treasurer to run financial operations in Treasury. And then after I did that for 4 years, I went to work at State Street Global Advisors in Boston, where I worked for 16 years, commuting from Cumberland.
What was your position there at State Street?
Senior relationship manager. And for a while, I ran the public fund group, which was dedicated towards managing assets for public pension plans. And I had about close to $40 billion of assets I was personally responsible for 29 clients across the country.
Can I take a break now? And I may be very close to being done. I just want to check with my co-counsel and go through a couple notes.
Yes, do you think you're,
I expect that if I come back and ask questions, I would be 15, 20 minutes at most.
I'm only concerned about the commissioners and the fact that we've been going for 5 hours and had no break to eat anything, whether there are people who feel they need to go grab a bite somewhere.
If it's only 15 minutes, I prefer to wrap it up.
Yeah.
And so remember that there will be additional questioning by Mr. Grammett. And then potentially additional questioning by Mr. Bristow. Mr. Grammett is indicating that it's a thumbful.
I would say, propose it, you're gonna go past 2:15 break to eat, because I frankly not make it, I'll pass it out to you. So that's the protein. No, that's real exciting.
So that's, why don't we see if you can finish up and
Well, 2:15 is 12 minutes from now, I think.
we'll get.
Yeah, I can't take a break.
Take your break, figure it out. If you come back in and we get to 2:15, plus or minus, we'll.
That's what you said. Okay.
So I don't want you to feel rushed in any way. We want you to have the full amount of time you want. I just know that there's some looks I've been getting about hunger.
Understood.
I came observe to that.
Yeah, that's not why.
That is not.
Shall I go off the record? I would appreciate you going off the record at this point.
Yeah, I started to leave.
No, it's all right.
Thank you.